What's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Hope you've had a great weekend as we're about to enter our work week. The weekend's already over, unfortunately. There's a couple things we're going to break down in this video. Fortunately, there's nothing too crazy going on, so there's really nothing threatening as far as the tropics, really. But we're going to break down the tropics. We're going to give you an update on that because there is an area of interest, per se, by the National Hurricane Center that we're going to break down that has a chance to develop. I don't think I'm overly concerned about it at all, but we're going to talk about it a little bit. We're also going to talk about a big-time pattern change, and that's not from hot to cold, guys, unfortunately, for you cooler weather lovers like me, but it's more of a pattern from dry weather to wet weather. There's a lot of areas, especially in the southeast, that has been relatively dry. In fact, I'm trying to think back of the last time it rained here in my location in South Carolina, and I honestly cannot remember the day. To be honest, I don't think it's been too long, but it's been a while. So, big time, the potential for some flooding. Not that high, but there is some chances that there could be some flooding in certain areas of the southeast. We're going to talk about those areas, how much rain they can get, and really break down what is going on during our first full week of October. So, if you guys have not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Like the video if you like it. I know I've said this all week, but I'm very excited about the future. There's some changes coming up that's going to improve my setup. And just, I had a really good week this past week where I thought a little bit more clear in my vision of this, which y'all have made happen for me. It's really exciting to think about. So I appreciate all the support, even in the slow times, which we kind of are in right now. October, I remember last October was kind of slow also, except in the tropics, but in between tropics and things like that, it was really, really slow. So it's just a transition month. Normally you're talking about either major cold fronts or somewhere in the Caribbean firing up in the tropics, or maybe some severe weather outbreaks, because fall is considered the secondary severe weather season for a lot of folks. And it's actually maybe the potential for a severe weather outbreak. I wouldn't call it an outbreak, but a lot of severe weather, maybe for areas of the Midwest as we get into next week. But let's get going here. There's a couple things to talk about. Right now, this is the Atlantic Basin as a whole, including most of the United States. You got Sam, that's finally going to be something we don't really need to talk about anymore. What's left of Victor? Wanda is the next name in the hurricane list, and then we're done, and then we start all over. And this is kind of that area of just cloudiness and showers that is an area of interest by the National Hurricane Center that we're going to break down in the second half of this video. Elsewhere, pretty quiet. We are going to talk about, what we were talking about a couple videos ago about the potential for some development in the Caribbean later this week. That has since tampered down. It does not look like it's going to be the case, but we'll check out the latest signal down there. So let's talk about the rain. We'll take a look at the southeast, then the mid-Atlantic, and the northeast. So going over the next couple days, there is some showers already, storms over in portions of the south already. I've had a couple people comment and say that it's raining where they're at, but going overnight, these rain showers will fizzle out. This is going to be more typical of a late summer pattern where you'll have thunderstorms. There's enough juice in the atmosphere for there to be some tropical downpours. So it's not just showery, rainy weather. It's actually some storms out there. But as we're getting into tomorrow morning, some of them will kind of drift a little bit further east, as what's going on is there's a stalled out cold front and then a cutoff low that's actually energizing a little bit more convection. Plus, there's a ridge of high pressure out here. So kind of in between that, you're having a flow of moisture between this ridge of high pressure out here and this cutoff low. And it's basically kind of funneling in moisture in between it. And there won't be much movement in these steering currents over the next few days. That's why in this area right here, there is a chance of flooding. So as we're getting into tomorrow, more showers and storms. I think Atlanta could have a big day as far as a lot of rain, and portions of Alabama, the panhandle of Florida, and even some showers making it into South Carolina, North Carolina, and then a big area of moisture potentially overnight tomorrow into Tuesday, and even more rain for Alabama, Georgia, maybe areas of the upstate of South Carolina, and I think areas just east of the mountains of Tennessee and North Carolina could be a big target for some heavier rain as we get more into the middle part of this week. As far as looking at and this is the HRRR model, by the way, looking at the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, waves of showers and storms, will move in. And I think tomorrow morning, a lot of folks in the New England area will wake up to some Very, very wet conditions. And y'all might get a few inches of rain here in the next few days, but rainy conditions. And this isn't a cool, rainy day. This is actually, there's a lot of moisture flow up here. So this is humid for you guys. Temps in the 60s and 70s, which is pretty warm as far as when it's raining for early October. Not crazy warm, but definitely is. But this is a plume of some big time moisture working its way in a kind of an odd fashion, but it's pivoting around this ridge of high pressure over the Atlantic, so it's moving like this. So it's funneling into especially areas of Massachusetts, southern New Hampshire, and Vermont, and Connecticut and Rhode Island. A lot of rain over the next few days for you guys. So one thing we'll look at here is the excessive rainfall outlook. There is a marginal risk, which is a 5 to 10% chance of flash flooding of 25 miles of any given location in the green area. The slight risk is 10 to 20% chance of the same threshold. So this is right now. So there's an area of flooding concern even going into this evening. You look into tomorrow, and this is when we have to watch out for the areas of New England. And then still in the same areas of southern areas of Mississippi, into a good chunk of Alabama, a good chunk of northern, central, and northern Georgia, and even areas of South Carolina, and getting into the southern Appalachian Mountains of North Carolina. We get into day 3, and I think that's when we have to really worry. We need to worry about some trends and see how much rain certain areas have already got over the course of the last 2 days prior. But as we're getting into Tuesday into Wednesday, slight risk of flooding, and I think that's because of the rain that could potentially fall the couple days prior. So some flooding rains are possible for Atlanta. Greenville, Spartanburg needs to watch out up into Asheville, and then getting close to Montgomery, Alabama. But this is obviously oriented from southwest to northeast. So even if you're outside of these green and yellow areas, you're still going to get rain. Just the chances of flooding rains are a little bit lower. So we'll look at the northeast. How much rain can you guys see over the next 48 hours? We'll go all the way up to Tuesday afternoon and check it out here. A few inches of rain could fall very quickly, relatively speaking, over the next few days from areas of New York State to southern Vermont, southern New Hampshire, and about the entire state of Massachusetts. A nice thumping of rain over the course of the last few days. You look into the southeast all the way into Tuesday afternoon. You see this corridor of very heavy rain stretching from southern areas of Alabama, even Mississippi, the western areas, the panhandle of Florida, and then it's oriented all the way, and we'll go all the way into basically, when is this? This is Wednesday morning. That's a good bit of rain. That's several inches of rain for certain areas. Atlanta, Greenville, Spartanburg, Asheville, even areas of Birmingham, Point South. Needs to watch out for a few inches of rain. Granted, a lot of these areas have not seen a lot of rain over the last week and a half, 2 weeks. But where I'm at in Columbia, we're going to be on the borderline of a lot of rain and not a lot of rain. But hopefully we see a little bit of rain because, like I said, I don't remember the last time it rains here. But as far as I want to put this in motion here, see if I can find the play button. We put this in motion here. You check this out. Basically, the areas you're seeing in the yellowish, and obviously the reds. The reds is more tropical moisture. And then you're looking at the browns and the whitish colors. That's dry air. So this is starting and moving through the week right now. Look at all the yellows and greens. That's just continuous flows of tropical moisture. And then, if you get lucky, and let's go on and stop this because it's going a little faster than how I'm speaking. But, we're all the way in through this weekend. You still have plumes of tropical moisture stretching almost all the way up to Maine into the Ohio Valley. You might get a little trough dig here and get more of a cold air damming dry air setup. But as far as a wholesale sweep of a cold front moving out Canada and sweeping through the entire eastern U.S., you don't really see that through the entire duration of this run that goes all the way almost now till mid to late part of October. So we just look like we're in the eastern U.S. It looks like on average we're just going to be on the very warm to humid pattern. It looks like we waste one of the best months, in my opinion, weather-wise, on some just rainy, humid weather. I've kind of come to the realization that it is what it is, but it's still a bummer for sure for me because I love October. Even though it's sometimes still very warm here in the Carolinas, I still love October. But moving forward, this is temperature anomaly, so this is temperatures compared to average, and we're just looking at the GEFS ensembles here. We're getting into midweek. You see the reds. That's obviously above average temperatures. So it stays above average for the entire eastern U.S., even in the Midwest. As we're getting into the 10th of October, we're getting to 11th, and we're getting into the mid part of this week. And look at this. I mean, this is about as stout as you can, as far as contrast between one, air mass and the other. You can obviously tell the western areas are much cooler than average. The eastern is much warmer than average, but you rarely see it like this. I guess this out there. I mean, it's just there. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Hopefully we can flip this pattern soon, but it looks warmer than average through mid-October. So let me go on and flip through my panels here. So let's take a look at the tropics here, and if this would, I guess, take 3.5 years to load for me here. Here we go. So this is the area of interest that we want to talk about here. Right now, per the 2 p.m. update, this might update by 5 p.m. and go away or get a little bit higher, but there's a 20% chance of development. It's in the southeastern areas of the Bahamas right now, but it has a chance to kind of meander northwest over the next few days. If this develops, I know nothing will shock me, but the next named storm is Wanda. And I think worst case scenario with this will push a plume of tropical moisture into the southeast. But you look at Tropical Storm Danny way earlier in the season. It's a good example of just a tropical wave that just strengthened into a tropical storm at the last second. Things can happen here. But looking forward here, as far as where this is, watch this area right here. You notice you don't really see anything organized, and then you get into this weekend, and then it pops an L right here. So you get into Saturday afternoon. That's what that piece of energy is that the National Hurricane Center is talking about. It has it briefly developed, and it might make for a rainy weekend across the Carolinas, but there's a lot to figure out. Meanwhile, you notice you're thinking, well, where's all that tropical stuff you were talking about a couple days ago? Well, for you guys in the Caribbean, really, it's kind of faded away. The signal for any kind of tropical threat is really just faded away. It shows this, but this is over 10 days out. So it's not really worth paying any respect to, if you will. But you look at the GEFS ensembles as far as members trying to pick up any tropical activity. Notice down there in the Caribbean, you see, you're getting all the way until about this time next week, and there's no real stout signal anywhere. So that's good news, right? There is a signal that starts to heighten around here, the Bahamas off the coast of the southeast, but still, I mean, that's 11 to 12 days out, so it's hard to take it very serious. You look at the European shows this piece of energy also pretty well, but it doesn't really develop it, but you can see it. Right here on the image here, you can see what that tropical energy is, but it just never really develops it, never really gets it going. I think the big reason why is the upper level wind patterns are not favorable at all. There's a lot of shear in place, and it's just not going to be able to develop. But you start to get pretty far out, and it has it developing off the coast of the northeast as you're getting into Monday of next week, but it's pretty far out, and a lot of things could change here. But as far as looking for a signal, keep wanting to say symbol, a signal on the European ensembles here, there's nothing. There's nothing worth saying, hey, well, that looks alarming. There's nothing at all. And I think the big reason here is because this is the phase we're in right now. We're in what you call a suppressed phase, which means that how do I explain this in a real easy way? Basically, the conditions right now in the tropical Atlantic and also in the Caribbean is not favorable for any kind of convective energy, because anything to convectively fire up. And obviously, you need thunderstorms and you need moisture and basically convection to get any kind of area of interest to develop, and a piece in energy to develop into anything tropical and to develop in anything. So right now, we're not in a favorable phase for tropical development. Now, maybe by the time we get into mid-month, that might change. A little bit more conductive phase for tropical energy might move into the Caribbean. But for now, it's just not favorable. But that's all I got, guys. I have a feeling it's going to be a pretty slow week as far as talking weather, but I'll keep on bringing the updates. Thank y'all for the amazing support on the mission to get to that 10K by the end of the year, and y'all are definitely making it happen. We're just in a kind of a slow period right now, but it's good, good that we're kind of slow. It gives everybody some time to just do outdoor things and enjoy one of the best times in the year, in my opinion. But hopefully we can get a cold front moving through soon, so we can get back to that cool, crisp fall air that most people love. But that's all I got, guys. Hope you all have an awesome start to your week, and God bless all y'all.